Good morning, good afternoon, good early, mid-morning, LinkedIn family, Facebook family, and YouTube channel. I'm so glad that you're all able to join us for another Coffee with Bob Live. I swear, guys, I got to change this from Coffee with Bob Live to Lunch with Bob or something like that because I do this on my lunch hour.
Is that how you do it? Is it?
Yeah. So I'm still having coffee this morning. I'm working on my second one. I am so blessed today to be joined by two wonderful women of LinkedIn. The amazing and a very good friend of mine, love her to death, Rachel Beck. Most of you know her probably better than you know me at this point in our time together. But Rachel and I have been connections for a while now. We've done a couple of these shows together. We've done a couple Coffee with Bob's together, and I've been on her show.
And you're coming on again, which is exciting.
And to say that she is amazing, and I have a true heart for her is probably being light about it. So thank you, Rachel, for being on today. And we're also joined by Niki Bell. Niki was on a Coffee with Bob with me. Niki is a global CFO consultant, correct? That helps people in international trade, helps them gain funding for their businesses, does all kinds of things. And I don't want to steal too much away from you, Niki. And the other reason why I kind of have a heart for Niki as well too is that her son was recently injured in a car accident where he was hit by a vehicle and suffered some brain injury. So I hooked Niki up with Dr. Irene Bell. Dr. Irene Kopp, who specializes in that type of stuff. And I know you guys are going good there. And I love Dr. Irene to death. And we'll talk about that at a different time. But I wanted to feature Niki today, not only for her expertise and to get her introduced to everybody, but also to help her with her GoFundMe to help her with her son's injuries, because he's beyond the point of being able to be on mom's insurance because he's 26. So, everyone. 20. Oh, 20. Okay. I thought he was older. I'm sorry. All right, cool. But I think everybody needs help. I think this falls in really well because today is Suicide Prevention, World Suicide Prevention Day, right? And I know you two both have a passion for mental health awareness, just as I do. And I'm a firm believer in practicing kindness all the time, right? Because you never know what that other person is going through. So it's just so easy to be kind to other people. So I think we wanted to kind of talk about that today. So that's my big 3-minute introduction to you. Thank you guys for joining us. And I want to we're going to save the best for last at this point, Niki. So I want to toss it over to Rachel first. So let Rachel make her introduction.
Niki, I'm so sorry to hear about your son. I'm really, really sorry to hear that. I've been trying to teach people to not assume that everybody's life is hi Patrick.
Hi, Patrick.
And wonderful, because that's not what's going on with people. And people are struggling, and they're struggling very hard right now, whether it's financially, professionally, they're still searching for jobs during this pandemic. So I ask every day for people to be kind and empathetic. This is crucial. And like you, all three of us, we're all using our voice for mental health. I'm deeply, deeply passionate about that. Very passionate. I love what Bob wrote. Maybe tell us what can we do to help you?
Oh, thank you so much. So, like you're saying, Bob, I deal with a lot of things in finance, in the world. And I think on the last show that we were on, I said that I have to do both because globally, you'd be surprised at how people view Americans, They're like, oh, a lot of times our hardships are because we are taking sometimes that lax approach. Like I'm waiting for my unemployment check or I'm waiting for that government check. And so for me, throughout my life of raising my son who has the autism, and I have a daughter too, that has not been an option for me. I've always had to work, right? And so when this happened, I just went full speed, automatic, pilot mom, advocate, vigilant, and I've had to do the same. So sometimes I'm up till like 2 a.m. I'm sure, Rachel, you know about that. reaching out to people in the world for my business, but also dealing with this huge impact that it's had on our lives. You know, the trauma of it, not getting the appropriate doctor care, not having the legal representation, you know, that sort of thing we've had to deal with on a day-to-day basis, let alone the conditions, you know, the internal injuries, getting to and from the doctors and things of that sort, getting the correct treatment. So it's been a lot, and it's been heavy on my plate. I've always been a single mom, so it's been heavy. It's been really, really heavy. And you know, a lot of times we believe when they turn 18, you know, they're kind of on their own, and I don't believe in that. You know, that parenting never stops. You know, that advocacy never stops, whether they have a diagnosis or not. It just doesn't stop. Right. So for us, it's been not so much how much we get on the GoFundMe, but it's been an awareness drive, you know, that initiative for people to be aware, because we've been judged harshly for these injuries that you can't see. I was talking to somebody that wanted to help fundraising, and they said, yeah, I remember how I was treated when you can't see the injuries, and people have a perception, they have a stereotype. And so, you know, when we talk, it's to break through that, you know, to really break down those barriers, because it's not fair. It's not fair to the individual who's going through it. And so, you know, my heart is with my son always. It's with my family, but it's also to those people who have suffered, you know, whether it be extreme, whether it be minimal, it doesn't matter, because you can't measure pain, right? You can't measure someone's pain. And we don't know what's going on in somebody's life. And I think that people need to really be aware of that. I heard that we're talking about mental health as well. Mm-hmm. Mental health is every single day. It's every single day. And again, we don't know what people are going through. So instead of judging, right, instead of having an opinion, just listen to understand rather than listen to react. Just be that listening ear. I think that helps a lot.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Thank you.
I definitely agree with that. One of the problems that people have is that they're always reacting first before actually digesting what's being told to them. Right. And then reacting after they have a chance to, I don't mean mull it over, right? But actually hear what's going on. It takes active listening. Yeah. Right. And I know that's a big difference between guys and men and women, right? Men are active listeners. I had to be the way I am as far as that's concerned through lots of practice and trial and error.
I'm having a hard time hearing you, Bob. There's like an echo.
I think that's coming from someone else's machine.
Okay. Now I can hear you. Okay, now I can. Okay. So yeah, it's important to listen. It's absolutely crucial, and especially now, like Niki's saying, mental health is every day. It's not something that we see. It's something that people are dealing with every day, right now, and it's crucial to take the time, be compassionate. It doesn't matter if you're doing this or doing that. If someone reaches out to you through text, through a phone call, through email, and saying, "I need your help right now," you need to show up and be there for people in their lives. That's how crucial it is.
Yeah, and that's a great point, Rachel. And I think it's critical that people trust that you're going to do that. Right. I mean, there are so many people out there that I know because I know and intuitively know that I can't say something to them because I know it's going to come back to me in a negative way, or I'm going to be judged for it. Right. For years, I never let people know that I had MS. I never spoke about it because it was always one of those things that, remember back in the day, you guys are younger than I am, but back in the day, you know, when cancer was still a bad thing, an automatic death sentence, people would say, "She has cancer," right? And that was the thing with MS too.
Yeah.
I remember when I first got diagnosed, we were in the middle of building our house. First thing my father said to me, "You can still build that house." Well, yeah, why not? Well, it's going to have stairs. You can't go up and downstairs. he was writing me off. I mean, and that was, you know, over 20 years ago at this point. But so saying stuff like that, and you know, MS, like cancer too, in some cases, is a very inward type of illness that people don't see, people don't understand. So if you're not in leg braces, if you're not in crutches, if you're not near death, nobody expects that you have it, and they treat you as if either you're faking or you're making up what's going on. And the same is said for brain injuries, like your son is going through, right? Especially when you're talking about an autistic child that has brain injuries as well, too. And I think people just need to understand that there is so much going on underneath the cover, so to speak, in a person's life, in a person's body, in a person's brain, that we have to afford them grace, right? We have to afford them understanding.
Yep.
So, Nick, give us a little bit of background on your son, and let's hear about the full story of it.
Okay. So he was born with autism. Both were born preemie, and then he wasn't diagnosed till age 5. When we left Michigan, they were born in Michigan. I was a student at Michigan State University, and I had my family out there. Michigan's home. I love the Midwest. Absolutely love it and miss it. And I've been back in Cali for 15 years, born and raised here. But so I just became an educator, and I became his advocate. And both kids, in every program, which is missing in California, it's early, that early intervention. From the time he came from the hospital, he was in a program. He was in, play groups and things of that sort. And so that really, really helped. And then early childhood special education, he was in that. His records are like really, really thick, and it's amazing. But he graduated from early special ed when he was only like 4.5 years old. And I remember the counselor that came to support was part of a program, and she said, this is the first time in 17 years that I've seen anyone ever graduate from special ed, ever, in 17 years that I've been doing it. And I was like, wow, really? And she's like, yes. And she gave me credit because it took all of the hands-on, all the reteaching, all of that stuff that they tell you to do. I was doing it. It didn't matter how much money we had or how little money we had. None of that mattered. It was just putting into practices those vices that could be used later as a parent, right? And for that child. And so it was just phenomenal. And so then we come here to California, and it's changed. And it's like, oh, doesn't look the part, perfectly fine, doesn't need any kind of intervention. And I just had to start a whole new kind of fight in the education system. Then it went all the way statewide, nationally, dealing with policies to this day. Like if they see me, it's like, oh, here comes, here she comes, here comes mom. And I don't care. I didn't care. It was so important for my child to get the resources that he needed, but also became this advocacy for other children, because at the same time, I was also in the schools volunteering or working, substituting, that sort of thing, just overly involved to make sure that he got the education that he needed, because it wasn't an option for me to homeschool. If it was, then I probably would have gone that route, but that wasn't an option. And so he's an exception to the rule. Doesn't really fit, what you typically see in an autistic child. But one thing about autism children is that they're very intelligent. They are extremely intelligent. And recently, I think it was like years ago, 2015, I was in the classroom again, and there was these 5 and 6 year olds, and they had ADHD and autism. And they were doing things, my son was like 15 at the time, and they were doing things that he would do when he was little, but he wasn't in that type of classroom. Remember, he graduated. And I thought to myself, oh my goodness. And there was such a difference between how they behaved and how he behaved, because of the fact that he didn't know until he was about 15 that he had attention deficit and that he had autism, because a specialist told him. And the specialist told him because as a way to undermine me as a mom, she felt that he needed to know, and came right out and just told him. And that wasn't the time, and it wasn't the place, and it totally flipped his script. I mean, it just totally changed the child. It totally changed him. And, we've had to go through our point of forgiving that which happened in our lives. And he said on his college essays I'm so glad that my mom did not tell me. I would not be the man that I am today. I am a man of confidence, strong self-esteem, because my mom did not tell me about this label. And so now if he tries to use it as an excuse, I'm like, get out of here. You never knew about it, so you can't even use it as an excuse, But I think that it's okay. I think that it's up to the parent to let their child know when they feel that child is ready, because it depends on the development of that child. I think that it's totally up to the parents. And I feel really, really strongly about that. And so, even though things have changed, we've mustered through it. We've gotten through all of these obstacles and challenges. And he's had concussions before. He's had a couple of concussions. The last one lasted about 9 months. And now this TBI is deeper than a concussion. And a TBI, a traumatic brain injury, is when you have the motherboard of the computer and then you have the software. The software is messed up. That's what that's about. So that's really what a TBI is. And that's what we're working with. And that's the way it is, regardless if you have autism or not. So we still need legal representation. We still need good doctor care. It's taking months to be able to get in to see the doctors locally. I mean, it's a whole loophole of a lot of stuff, and it's me maintaining all of these records and all of these things that we need to do, and advocating and being on the phone. And he's there. He's present. My son takes full responsibility for his life. He's in school. He's a senior, actually, at a local university. He's a senior getting ready to graduate. And so I'm just so proud of him. I'm proud of both kids, So thank you. And that's where we're at.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
So I'm glad both of you are talking about invisible illnesses. That's a really, really crucial topic, because I battled one for 20 years that nobody could see. So I know what that's like when people are like, oh, but you look healthy. I'm like, you have no idea what's going on inside of it. Like, you have no clue what's going on. And we're talking about Mental Health Day, and today it's the same thing. And people look at me and go, you don't look like somebody who has PTSD. I'm like, what does that look like? Because I'm trying to end that stigma around PTSD that every face looks different, but it's still something else, Bob, that you can't see.
Right.
And so people are like, oh no, it's weird. I'm like, no, you have no clue what's going on. I'm like, you don't. So it's important to, like, exactly what Nikki was saying, don't judge, don't criticize. Sit down, have a conversation like this, and go, what's going on with you? What's going on with you? Instead of making this up. Bob's doing great physically. Nikki's doing great physically. Her son's doing great physically. That is one of the biggest mistakes I see people making on this platform. It is assumptions that they make every single day about content creators. And it's a huge one that they make.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. Dr. Irene Kopp, who just
Irene.
Yay!
Hi, Dr. Irene. She and I were just talking about this very topic, not this morning, but yesterday, about the fact that stress, PTSD, that's like the next great pandemic that's going to be hitting this country.
Yeah.
Because everybody being locked in, not being able to get out, not being able to socialize, not being able to do all this stuff, is leading to burnout. And that's, she's been on the show before and we've talked about it. That's her passion, trying to help alleviate that stress. And that is a very silent killer. And again, it goes back to people making snap judgments based on visual, right? Without even speaking to someone, without even trying to understand where they're at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I can't keep stressing this more, that, little acts of kindness, of just listening and understanding, can go a long way to help somebody. And I wish we could change, Rachel's on a mission to change the world, to have people be more understanding. And I wish we could. I wish there were more people like you guys out there preaching this. I think it's
so necessary. Bob, it is so necessary right now. People are deeply hurting. There are people, I can say this because I know this, they're holding on by a thread. That's what's going on right now. They are holding on by a thread. And I had a psychologist on the show who had talked about that mental health issues were up 100% in this country. 800%. And you talked about the fallout of what it's going to be. Like you're talking about the long-term effects of this that we won't see for a while because we don't know if there's going to be more lockdowns. We don't know what's going to happen. So yeah, mental health should definitely be discussed.
Yeah. So Niki, let's talk about what you're doing from a business standpoint a little bit. Let's get into that.
I know what she's doing.
You're doing some really interesting work.
Yeah, recently, I don't know if you guys saw, I got this award as a global leader for the World Humanitarian Day on August 19th.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it was so awesome.
Yay.
Congratulations.
It was so awesome. And I'm like, okay, investments, humanitarian, such polar opposites, but so needed, right? So needed. Both of them, so needed. And I'm not talking about just social impact, because I have like a group I belong to, and they're like, oh, we only want things that deal with social impact. And it's like, no, people have their way of taking on causes. You may take it on personally, but may not in business, and that's okay. Or your business, that might be their slogan. They take on certain issues. To me, it doesn't matter. What matters is being a messenger that I am in the universe. I am that bridge, right? I am that bridge. So between investor and a company looking for funding, between the world and these issues that we have, dealing with the environment, animals, humanity, it doesn't matter. I am that bridge. Understanding people from different cultures and languages. I can talk to anyone in the world. And actually I do every single day. It's just phenomenal. Phenomenal. Australia, Finland, UK, I've taken on that. I'm in Singapore, Asian market, African market. And everyone has a different way in which they look at things, right? In which they're doing business. And I told someone the other day, and it was literally the mic just dropping. And I was having a conversation, and I said, some people don't know how to do business because they haven't taken self-responsibility for their own life. Boom, mic drop. And they were like, oh, that is so true. So how many people come to me who are not ready for that next step? How many? There's plenty of them. Or how many have these bright ideas, but they haven't put practical steps in place? Too many. And am I able to help those people? Yes, I am. But I look for those people who are ready, who are not perfect, who have some issues going on, who need me to come in and do some risk management and say, look, if you do it this way, this is a liability, or these are the risks that you're taking. Investor, if you invest in this project and you don't really know what's going on and you just got a referral from Uncle Bob or whatever, you're not doing any service to anyone. So, and you're losing money, and this is how much money you're going to lose. And at the same time, building my team behind the scenes, I have a phenomenal person who's really interested in coming on board as my accountant. I have another one, I believe he's in Malaysia, who's willing to look at business plans and do the graphic designs. So that's really important to me. What I am missing is a marketer. A marketer will just cut through everything, qualify people, so on and so forth. Right now, I do it myself. So I'm like a machine. I'm like a raging machine. But one of the things that makes me different than most is that I wake up hungry every single day. And I've been that way most of my life. Every single day, I wake up hungry. I wake up a beast. I wake up saying, I'm here. I pronounce myself ready to go. If you don't show up for a call, that's not on me. It was the fact that I was ready. And because I'm ready, my life will continue to move forward. If you want your life to move forward as well, then jump on the Niki wagon. Let's go.
Niki, I love your energy.
Yeah, it's just, I can feel the energy just coming out through the camera.
Yeah, you are a strong, empowered woman, and I celebrate that. I think let's talk about cultures, right?
Yeah,
that is something this platform people are missing, to respect everybody's cultures, and also to be conscious of that business is different with different cultures, and so it's a good idea to learn, what the practices are, how you're representing yourself to another culture. That's really, really important. It's like crucial, and people are missing that.
Yeah. And for me, it's be your authentic self. Yes. Be who you are. So the flower, I don't stop wearing it because I'm the sunshine, right? And that's what I illuminate. But I want them to be sunshine too. I want them to be as bright as the sun as well. I lend my energy because I have enough for everyone. That's how I feel. But I don't carry the burden of the world on my shoulders. I say, hey, why don't you carry some of this, and why don't you carry some of that, and you over here, and and we all can come together in harmony and work together, but in reality and in practical terms, not like this daydreaming kind of ideas here and there. Sometimes, and I remember Rachel talked about this, sometimes people come into your inbox, like you're on LinkedIn and you're checking your messages or whatever, and they're in your inbox, and it's like, okay, for me automatically it's like, how can we help each other, or how can we do business together? And there's some people that have no concept of that. They're just like, oh, I just want to follow you, and I just want to do this, and I just want to do that. And it's like, no, I want to know about you. I want to get on a conversation with you on a video call or a phone call. I want to know how we can help each other. So I think that we need to go beyond just being on social media. And I know, Rachel, you're going to pick up the mic after this, but we need to be on it. We're not just on social media. We're not just networking, but we are actually reaching out. And the reason why I say this is because we cannot afford, in the economy that we are now, the global economy that we have right now, we cannot afford to be lax. We cannot afford to not take on opportunities, whether it's job opportunities, career opportunities, to move forward, right? Our business opportunities. We must be there and be present and take that extra step and go beyond just networking. It's not just networking, right? Because we can't afford that. That's a luxury. Mm-hmm. And any of us in any part of the world, we need to be doing what we have to be doing in order to continue to move forward. Rachel, over to you.
I think that's the mic drop, right? Well, I love what she's saying, because it essentially it boils down to, it's not enough to talk about change like we always do. We're always talking about change. We're always talking about being diverse. We always talk about equality. We always talk about treating women with respect, right, on the platform. We always talk about mental health awareness, being aware. We have to be the change. Yeah. Right? We have to be the people driving the change. That's why, if you look at any one of my lives that are on, it's not just about, like my short version of Coffee with Bob is about you, that person, right? Telling you what you do. When I do the Coffee with Bob lives, I'm hoping to help enact some change, helping to drive some change forward. That's why I have lovely women like you on the show like this. And I'm sorry, Rach,
no, it's your show. I was listening to you. It's your show. So, I wanted to say about it, networking is crucial now. It's everything, Nikki. As you know, you and I are involved in a lot of networking, different things. This is what it comes. Now, here's the mistakes people make. You ready?
Here we go.
The three of us can open those doors for everybody, right? And we can say, okay, you ready? Come into the network, follow. We're going to take you here, there, and I'm going to introduce you to the right people. Talk about taking control of your life. People end up getting the doors closed on them by their behavior. That's what I see every single week. That's what it comes to. So yeah, it is a responsibility. We're going to open the doors and say, boom, we're here. This is who you need to know. This is who you need to meet. This is who you need to connect with. Don't miss out on this opportunity. But it comes down to how that person, I want to say it, how the person behaves. That's what it comes down to. Because Bob knows I'm going to keep introducing my network to the right people and say, Bob, you need to know this man. Or Nikki, you need to know this woman. And I'm very strategic about what I do. I'm very strategic about who I invite onto the show. They, like what Bob was talking about, they have to be pushing this world forward. They can't be taken from the world. They have to be taking this world forward. I handpick everybody I have on the show because they're not part of the problems, like what Bob's saying. They're part of the solution. Right. Mm-hmm. Which is crucial.
I'm the same way. Although I've had people on the show before that didn't follow that pattern early on when I first started doing it, and I learned my lesson straight on because I started to realize what my passion was in doing this is to be someone who helps drive change forward, right? I always say one connection can change a life, and I truly believe that. I believe that deeply in my heart, that it only takes one connection to make a difference in someone's life, because I've seen it happen.
It's true, Bob. It is so true. It's absolutely true. That's exactly how it happens here. So if like we're saying like, okay, we want you to meet this person, we want to introduce you to this person, it's because I want to take, I walk with my network behind them, pushing them forward, and I keep saying, hey, listen, this is a great opportunity. Meet this person.
Right.
And that Niki sort of comes down to.
Yeah, and I don't know if you all noticed, someone did a posting, I forget what it was about, but my answer was something that was missing in business or something like that. And I said, there's a lack of urgency. I don't know if you've noticed that, but because of the pandemic and COVID and whatnot, there tends to be a lack of urgency. Like you might be moving things, Rachel, and you might be moving things, Bob, but there's certain times that you get to a point where it's like, did I just do that like 3 weeks ago? And this is still sitting here, or this person is still sitting on this, and there hasn't been a decision made, and this transaction or whatever's supposed to happen. And there's this lack of urgency, and it drives me insane. And I know like everyone can't get on the Niki wagon, but okay, when you come to me, know that literally it's 24 hours, a 48-hour response. We need to be on it. I'm going to get back to you. You get back to me. Contracts need to be signed. I'm going to do that in with my due diligence. It might take me a day. It might take me a week, no longer than that. But just know these things, and it's business etiquette. Like it's just business one-on-one straight. I mean, it's just business one-on-one. So I've noticed that there's this lack of urgency. And again, global economy, we can't afford that. We can't afford that. Just because your country might say, oh, we're in a recession or we're in a depression right now, you yourself cannot operate like that. We need to get off of this physical realm and get onto the spiritual realm of things.
Right.
And in order to overcome some of these mental health issues that come up daily in our lives, right? Whether it's you yourself or someone in your family, we personally deal with it every day. You cannot be in that state of darkness. And people don't realize that business and life go hand in hand. It's hand in hand. Yes. So if you're sitting there and you're in this like recession mode, depression mode, and waiting on your unemployment check, or, using up all your savings, and you're not making anything happen with your business, don't let that hurt the next person that comes along, but also realize that you're hurting yourself because you're in that dark state. And so we need to, in order to uplift ourselves mentally, globally, and uplift our economy, we definitely need to have that sense of urgency and start doing business. Like literally. And all these, okay, and then I'll stop. All these people who say like, oh, I'm a job recruiter and I have an agency and I'll help you get a job. I am making you accountable. If you say you can help someone get a job and I send someone to you, for the life of me, make sure that you follow up and that you are doing what you are supposed to do as a representing agent. And those looking for work, make sure that you follow up, because it's nothing for me to introduce you, but it may be a lot for you to follow through. So if you're going to pronounce it to the universe, make sure you are showing up in your own life. Please. Please.
The energy from you is Niki is just amazing.
On Friday too. On
a Friday.
Yeah.
Should have done this first thing in the morning. That would have woke everybody up.
Wake up!
I love it. Friday.
Well, guys, thank you so much for being on the show. I truly appreciate it. If you're not following, if you're not connected, and you're not engaging with Niki Bell, please do, because she's definitely one of those connections that are going to change your life. And absolutely for Rachel, if you're not following Rachel Beck, if you're not connected to Rachel Beck, you're not engaging with her, you're missing out. You really need to. Both of these young ladies post just golden nuggets of content every day, and you need to be connected with them. And they're always there to help, which is what I love about you guys, is that you are always so open to engaging with people. So thank you again for being on the show.
We don't need to follow Bob. Let's give a shout out to Bob.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that too.
Bob, he is one of the kindest souls I've ever met in my life. So
Well,
follow Bob, please.
Thank you. Yeah, that's
Nikki.
that's high praise, especially coming from you. And then across the scroll, you see Nikki's GoFundMe. Please reach out to do that, and I'll post it in the comments after this replay airs. Every little bit helps. You know, my friend Russ John always says kindness is cool. And I really believe that. You never know. Again, you never know what the other person is going through. So please be kind all the time. And remember, it's one connection that can change a life. I want all of you that are out there watching us, be that connection for somebody today. And it doesn't mean that you have to hook up with them. It doesn't even mean you have to find a job for them. Just be kind and understanding. And that will change the world. Guys, thank you so much.
Bob. Love you, Rachel.
I appreciate you guys so much. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.